Human beings are resilient. But with strength comes vulnerability. Mental illness affects everyone differently, but through art, we can find connection and healing. There's beauty in struggle, and there are so many stories waiting to be heard. The Art of Chaos tells the stories of 3 individuals and the community that formed as a result of their shared testimonies.
Oh no, it's started again. I feel it coming, my heartache again. My skin pale, I've been frail, I've been jail. Holy hell, my blood pressure's rising, dilating my eyes in their sockets. So I just breathe deep with my hands in my pocket and try to relax. Exhale to the max with Sean on the sax, but it's hard to stay calm to the sound of the soft voice that I attempt to listen to keep my anxiety under control. It's definitely in undergrad. I had a severe anxiety attack, and it was at the moment I least expected it. I was on my bed just watching Netflix, and I just started sweating profusely. And I had some chest tightness, and I couldn't breathe. If you can envision an invisible hand preventing you to breathe, it is scary. No one actually dies from an anxiety attack because physically you can still breathe. The air goes in and out. But just that feeling, it feels like the closest thing to you're about to die.
I had like a suicidal crisis at the time, and I decided to look into that more seriously rather than writing it off as just an event that happened. And that's when I kind of started looking into it.
I really loved art since I was a kid. My mom used to put like blank paper, the rolled up ones, all over the house so that I could just like draw. But it was something that I always knew I wanted to do. It only became apparent to me that I really wanted to take it on as a career after like a rough spot in my life. It really showed me that, okay, like life is way too short to be thinking about it way too much. So I kind of just made the decision and I went into it 100%.
Hi, so my name is Arash. I'm a 4th-year pharmacy student at the University of Toronto. I take a lot of pictures, and I do spoken words at local cafes and improv classes, at open mic nights. It varies a lot based on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I've talked about past relationships. The most recent one was about my anxiety, something I've been very secretive about up until now. I think at the time, I still hadn't been set on pharmacy. I still had my eyes on medical school. It wasn't the best thing for me at the time. I just dived straight into one of the most competitive programs. I need to reevaluate my options, which was why pharmacy was a great help for me. It's not that it's on a lower scale than medical school is, but it was a lot less emotionally draining. So, although I don't do this all the time, but once in a while, if I'm like feeling like today I want to have a good day, I try making my bed. The first thing that I do, I get out and I make my bed. It's because it's the easiest thing to do, and it's the first task that you can accomplish in a day. At least if you do that, then you can tell yourself that you've accomplished something today. Even if you spend the entire day on the couch watching TV, you'll tell yourself that I've done something right.
Hi, my name's Josh Swami. I am a student and a dancer, a b-boy with Original Ruckus, and I have depression, anxiety, borderline personality disorder, and attention deficit disorder. It just was something that never crossed my mind as something that I might have or I might be suffering from. I would say I feel like I'm in an empty room. It's kind of like there's vague impressions of the outside world, blurry images that I can't reach out and connect with. But I know they're there, and I have an idea of what they are, but I just feel so separated from them. It's a feeling of loneliness, but knowing that it's more intense in the way because I know there's things out there, but I just can't interact with them. My mental health affected my relationship with my art, and that I didn't feel like I was good enough to be an artist for a long time.
My name is Shana. I am an artist and also an activist for victims of sexual assault. As far as my art goes, I love to paint, I love writing poetry, I love photography, and I love digital art. I don't really like to limit myself when it comes to art. I like to dabble in a little bit of everything. A couple of years ago, it's been 2 years now, I was in a sexual assault incident with a guy, and I realized at that point my life was really precious, and that moment could have gone a lot worse. And I decided that, okay, Shana, you gotta do everything that you love every single day, make the best of it. That's what kind of led me to finally realize how much art meant to me and how much it helped me get through the whole thing.
A lot of imposter syndrome came up. Yeah, just not feeling like I was good enough. Oftentimes that disappointment that I would feel from not feeling good enough and judging myself so hardly would make me, speaking of dance, like I would want to quit dance, or if I didn't do a performance well enough, I wouldn't want to continue dance. It became a tool for me to accept myself, and that I stopped judging myself and just appreciated everything that I did, regardless of the outcomes that it brought or what it produced. It was just something that was for me to do that I could take pride in, not looking for it to be productive or goal-oriented or cultivate something else in my life. Having something that, like my dance, that allows me to engage with my mental illness differently from, say, talking with my therapist or just stressing about something. When I kind of channel those feelings of anxiety and stress and depression and self-hate into my dance, when I just go to practice and I just dance, I experience those feelings very differently.
Unfortunately, whenever I'm at my lowest, I write the most because I'm at my most expressive when I'm at my lowest. Instead of seeing my low point as a defeat, I try to turn it into something a little bit more creative that I can potentially use in the future. I love it because even as a healthcare professional, I know a lot of illnesses are solely medication-based. For instance, diabetes. There's nothing that any sort of counseling can do for you. But mental illness is a completely different ballgame. So it definitely needs a multidisciplinary approach to it. You definitely have to seek other outlets or other sorts of help if you want to be at your best. You just have to be comfortable in your skin to be able to talk, and if you can communicate what you're saying through the spoken word, you can clearly elaborate on how you're feeling and express your message in a way that can get across in order to get someone to relate back to you.
Performance art is always good for opening up that conversation. However, for me, it's just as important to have that conversation. It's just being able to kindly say to yourself, I'm allowed to feel hurt. I'm allowed to feel depressed. I'm allowed to be mentally ill. That was my biggest moment for me. Pushing yourself to kind of say, okay, I really should start taking care of myself and taking it seriously, because that, for me, I just didn't take like my suicidal thoughts seriously.
Everything that I do has a different purpose in my life. So as far as painting goes, it's kind of like meditation, as in the sense of like I kind of zone out and it's just me, the paint, and the canvas. So sometimes my mom will be like yelling my name, like, I did not hear you, Mom. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I was just in the zone doing that. So that's this form of type of meditation for me. It's just something that I feel like I was meant to do. I am grateful. It might sound silly to some people, but I'm so grateful for that situation in my life. It was basically rock bottom for me, but it led to something so great.
The first time I really am comfortable with where I exist as an artist, as an academic, as a mentally ill person. I feel for the first time very comfortable.
Well, art's a form of expression, right? And I think that's very common in our society. People write music about their feelings and their experiences. The first step is always acknowledging whether or not you can deal with it yourself, and if you can't, the first thing you gotta do is you gotta seek help. Because it's not something that just goes away.
Mental health is spoken about, but we don't really talk about how to deal with it. I think we've gotten to a place where, yes, like we do speak about mental health, but we don't make the resources and like the ways to deal with it so apparent to everyone. So everyone's like, okay, now I know I have mental health issues, but like I don't know what to do about it. And I feel like how art comes into play there is a unique way for someone to release all of that. And a lot of people don't realize they have the capability of making art out of something maybe tragic or maybe even something great that happened in their lives. I think a lot of times we feel like we're a burden on other people, but what we don't realize is that other people are going through the same thing. My art helps me process all of the information that I take in every single day, because I do have people coming to me for support, and sometimes it does get a lot, so it's kind of a channel for me to let all of those emotions that I take onto a canvas, whether it be in photography, canvas, digital art, whatever it may be. So it's a great, great outlet for me to just let it all out.
What I believe about my future is that if I continue to cultivate what I have now, it should just continue to grow into the future. Even if it is just, like for me, dancing and being able to engage with those feelings, that's enough. But I think it's important to just find something that allows you to engage with your feelings. I think that's what's most important.
Talk to the first person you feel the most comfortable to, whether that be your parents, your brother, sister, your closest friend. And just describe how you're feeling to them and see how that makes you feel. The resources are there, it's just accessing them, which is a little bit difficult and intimidating, but once you're there, the support is just crazy. So here's hoping that one day we can combat this enigma and remember one thing. Please fight the stigma. Thank you.
The event was the first time that anyone had met. Not just the community as a whole, but even the artists themselves. We had all formed this connection online through social media and on our sets. But it wasn't until that evening that everything really came together. We had amazing mental health professionals from Stella's Place and Jack.org to speak on the power of art and communication, and several Toronto artists showcasing their work and its purpose. The point of it all is this: continue to create chaos with us by having open conversations and reminding each other that your story matters.
It's really like, you would say it's cliche, but it's really that simple. And it starts with you. It really does. And it starts with one thought, whatever it may be, whether it be an art project, whether it be photography, whatever you love doing, it starts with you. And if it's something you feel passionate about, just do it. Because it could be something so amazing, and you just have to believe in yourself. And through believing in yourself and trusting yourself and unapologetically accepting who you are and what you're going through, you can make the world such a great place.